what exactly was the thing that you wanted to fully discuss so they can understand as well?
Yeah, so this made a lot more sense before these recent chapters. It was Deku versus Yuji, and it just kind of started to fall apart when these last chapters came out because they just made Yuji unimaginably strong.
Yeah.
In like the month he went to go train with Gojo, he just like learned every top tier ability and just can now throw hands with an arguably weakened Sukuna.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that if you give Yuji like his like full abilities, right, is that with his domain, like if you were like to plug a controller in his ass and then pop the domain, he basically has immeasurable attack speed. So like everything he hits will just hit Deku into his soul and like do damage. Can split, bro. So you actually read My Hero Academia, so explain to me.
Mhm.
How does this perk or quirk exactly work? Is it like a conglomerate of souls like the Avatar, or what exactly is going on with that? Do you know like the full detail or?
Yeah. So I mean, basically, the quirk, because it's been obviously the quirk one for all, because it's been hand down from person to person. Every person who's had a quirk, when they passed down the main one for all quirk, their quirk also went with it and had been evolved more and more, that each successor would train with that quirk. And so the version that Deku has is like a hyper developed version of it. And so he has like one in particular called Danger Sense, which I know one of my friends was arguing Deku can't sense cursed energy, or probably not because he's not familiar with it. So he wouldn't be able to like sense Yuji's attacks. But Danger Sense specifically senses a person's intent to harm you, not just like the attack itself.
Okay.
Which is, yeah. So it's like he has this hyper awareness as well. So if they were technically bloodlusted, the delay, I think it's like there's like a second delay for a domain expansion.
Yeah.
Deku technically would be able to sense that. And I mean, the speed feats for these characters, Deku, All Might, it gets pretty silly.
Yeah, you know, they are very fast. They are very fast. I think there's like that one guy who has like the cock laser beam. Like he's just like a fodder. He's like a fodder hero in the school. He can shoot cock lasers or something. Like they're apparently actual lasers or something. Like so
that was a weird one because it's you see him shooting his belly button laser, his navel laser. And the argument is, well, it breaks through things. Like it's seen as like a physical object, so it shouldn't be technically a real laser. But the argument is the girl who has the invisibility power, her power is to manipulate light. And she's actually seen in a scene manipulating the navel laser and like redirecting it.
No, dude.
Which kind of confirms that it is light, so it's like technically light speed.
There's also like the fictional though type laser, like people would argue that for like plasma rounds, whether it be like in Halo or in Star Wars, the way that those lasers work. So even though they have like some functional, I don't know, damage capacity, unlike like a laser pointer that'd get you in trouble if you pointed at an airplane or something. They still, I guess, function as that type of concept. But I also don't know if the author thought about it too much because, these characters then struggle to react to certain types of explosions. Like, Bakugo has like the nitroglycerin explosions and stuff like that, which is like massively hypersonic, or, they'll try to dodge a lightning blast and they'll take great effort. But it's like, bro, if the cock laser is 1,000 times faster than that, this should be no problem at all. Like, you should be seeing all this shit in slow motion. So I don't know how much they thought about the cock laser being like the speed of light that can travel around the planet 7 times in 1 second. Not too sure if they thought about that. But if they did, then Deku's probably just speed blitzing the fuck out of Yuji. And then,
it's crazy because you don't even need that naval laser to make Deku unreasonably fast because they have a statement. You remember the person who trained All Might, Gran Torino, stated multiple times in the series to move faster than the eye can see.
Yeah.
This is where I mean, power scaling gets kind of funny because there's all kinds of definitions of how fast that is. But one I found that seems to be the only like actual number that seems pretty reasonable is 38,000 miles per hour, because humans can see all kinds of fast shit that, travels way, way faster than all of our vehicles, all of the fucking meteors. When we see a shooting star, it's like, well, those are moving at like 100,000 miles per hour. Are we talking about those numbers? This one seems like one of the lower interpretations of faster than the human eye can see. So I went with that because it's still ridiculous. Because the Gran Torino is nowhere near the speed of a hyper weakened All Might.
Yeah.
All Might shows up to the battlefield. Gran Torino shows up like 10 minutes later, actual watch time, 10 minutes. All Might's there fighting and dialoguing with one All for One. And if weakened All Might, who's probably weaker than the All Might who fought the Nomu, who we know is mathematically 60 times weaker than his prime, because he says it would take no more than 5 punches to beat Nomu in his prime versus the over 300 it took in that particular fight. You can use that multiplier to just say, well, okay, 60 times 38,000 is almost 3 million miles per hour.
I mean, and if you have the naval laser as well, you're like, well, All Might can blitz fucking cock laser. And then he's 60 times faster, and it's like, bro, Yuji's getting fucking blitzed on. And then, you kind of get into like the actual, power scaling part where I've seen some calcs that put, Prime All Might at like island level or whatever. I think that him changing the weather patterns around the entire planet for a long period of time is at least country level, just downplaying. I've seen some like moon calcs and stuff like that. Irregardless, it seems like I want to say just realistic My Hero sort of beats the more like skeptical JJK. Right? Skeptical JJK is like, maybe the disaster curse is made an island, maybe not. Like, how much of it's really an island? It's kind of like Chitu and Hunter x Hunter. Like, did he really make like a big area? Is it just like a little block? Like, I don't know. So, skeptical JJK, maybe island level. Maybe the speed of light with Kashimo. Who knows how much, Yuji really fully scales to that. But, maybe light speed. And then, My Hero is just like, they're definitely probably above country level. They're definitely probably above speed of light. So Deku does seem to put the fucking work on Yuji just pretty normatively. But then I feel as though some people are saying Deku has some inaccessible shit. I have no idea. I'm not going to agree with that. I have no idea. I've never actually finished My Hero.
He dodges the naval laser, which, I mean, you could say makes him faster than light. But
well, they're saying inaccessible as in, like, he can move where there's no time. Like, he has, like, beyond infinite speed.
No, I don't see any arguments for that.
And even if that were true, same applies to Gojo if we're going to go there. But I feel as though JJK has more potentiality to be much stronger. So, like, Sukuna might scale above a black hole.
Right.
He already scales multiple times above Kashimo while heavily nerfed anyway. There's
the black hole threatened to blow up the whole planet or destroy the whole planet.
And it's nerfed. And then there's also the inaccessible prison realm. If you want to go there for Deku, you can go the same way for JJK. Domain has inaccessible attack speed if he gets hit by it, which is a debate in itself. And then they might have just a 3D AP arguments if you think that Sukuna scales above the fucking above the 3D AP sphere from Yorozu. So I feel as though normatively, or like more than normal scaling, you'd have Deku beat like kick. He's probably shoot style fucking kick comboing Yuji like Vegito in like the video games and just beating the fuck out of him or something. But if you want to try your hardest, you can make Yuji come out on top. I think that's how I generally would structure a video around it. But yeah.
I think that's true. You can extrapolate the attack potential of Prime All Might by using his tornado feat. There are ones about him changing the weather by pushing. Some people have interpreted the manga panels as his punch pushing all the clouds further than the eye can see past the horizon with his punch, which you can kind of see because there's clouds in the panel before he punches, and then kind of zooms out.
You mean when he punches the slime? Or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no clouds like after he does the initial punch in the manga. And it's not really the exact same thing as the anime, but if you want to take that as his punch was so strong it pushed the clouds even further than the horizon itself, that can scale him higher than the tornado. But the tornado is the easiest one to get an actual measurement for how much energy is in a tornado. It's really speculative how much energy it would take to push the clouds beyond the horizon.
Yeah.
So if you take the tornado, what I did, I took just what's considered a large tornado, and I use that way it kind of exterminates the whole, well, that tornado you used wasn't big enough. Let's just use a big one to kind of hammer the point home of how strong this guy is. Because it's, even if you take a large tornado, it's not that strong. Without going into like super nerdy math, it's basically not as strong as the bomb, the little boy nuke that was dropped on Hiroshima. All the math gets you to around 22 trillion joules for All Might, and that bomb was like 60 trillion.
Yeah.
And that bomb destroyed 67% of the city, which is about 234 square miles of land. We're talking about, if someone's a continent buster, the smallest continent on Earth is like 3 million square miles.
Yeah. 100%.
And if, he's not scaling up to the bomb that destroyed 234, it's safe to say he could be small island buster, but not continent buster.
Yeah. And it just sort of depends on what you think Deku did. This guy's saying Deku has inaccessible combat speed while in overdrive. I have no idea what that is. You'd have to enlighten me.
It's his gear shift. Like 120%. He could use his quirk at 120% because of this gear shift quirk he has, which is actually kind of insane.
Pretty much directly stated that he was able to break the rules of physics and hit Shigaraki multiple times in a single instant. That could be exaggerated language or flowery language.
Mm-hmm.
That's used quite often in many things. Like he attacked him in an instant. It's not literally like infinite speed every time.
Mm-hmm.
But if that were true, sure, you would have like it wouldn't really be inaccessible, but it would be infinite, I guess. Breaking the rules of physics. I hate to tell you this, bro, but every manga does that.
Everything is.
Every manga's doing that, bro. Like I hate to tell you that. People can't move at the speed of light and not affect their surroundings. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just come on. But anyway, I hope that did answer your question, and we kind of went over a bit how that video would go. Do you have anything else you want to add before I go back to the solo stream, or?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a way better ending to My Hero.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. What's your better ending? Yeah.
So, okay, I mean, let me tell you a little bit about like why the ending was bad. It's not even what happened; it's the fact that they were building up this narrative.
Quick, you sound like Carthu. You sound like little brother Carthu or like evil Carthu. Like, it's kind of funny, but keep going. Yeah, you have the same accent. Yep.
Dude, I'm not even bothered by the ending itself if it wasn't for all the narrative that they ended up shitting on by doing that ending. So they had this like narrative that like Deku shouldn't rely on his own strength. This was All Might's fault. That's why he got a hole in his stomach, and why he's like needing to pass on the quirk. He couldn't fulfill what he was trying to do because he tried to solo it. And you see this like idea of even Deku falling into it with his anti-hero arc, and All Might becoming like depressed after losing his quirk. And then he got a pep talk from Stain saying, dude, just because you're quirkless now doesn't mean your mission, the whole thing you were working towards, is dead. You've lit the torch, and now you're passing it on to society to fulfill the actual role as a hero. Everybody in society needs to have this idea so that we have less villains overall. And Deku says we should reform villains. He doesn't want to kill Tomura. He wants to save him and all this stuff. And then they have it basically turn into, oh, I lose my quirk at the end. Deku loses his quirk. He gives it up to try to save Shigaraki. Shigaraki dies anyways. And then Deku's like moping around, and he's like, oh man, sure sucks to be irrelevant again. And then All Might hands him a fucking expensive mech suit and says, hey, you could be relevant again with this mech suit, dude. That cost a fortune.
Yeah.
And he goes off and like be's a hero again.
Okay,
and
can I ask a question? Okay,
Yeah.
So does the fucking Uraka gravity chick, doesn't she like have like a crush on Deku at the end?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay, so she's like, I want to be with Deku, right? So
Pretty much, yeah.
why the fuck is he just like, yeah, I just, sorry, 8 years later after he loses his power, they don't talk? Like, is that real? Like, she just doesn't fuck with him at all? Like, she just.
Wait, I didn't see that. I saw the last panels were like, oh, we're gonna figure out what's the most important thing to us in the world, and she like looks at Deku, and it's like, oh, Deku is her world. I get it.
But
That's what I thought.
But 8 years later, she doesn't like hit up his phone or nothing. Like,
wait, am I crazy? Is there an 8 years later that I missed?
yes, dude, it's an 8 year time. Yo, chat, isn't it 8 years later?
What?
Is it 8 years later? The time skip when the My Hero ends.
Deku didn't look older to me. Man, I totally misread
Dude, yeah,
that.
it's like 8 years later or some shit, and she's like, I don't know, maybe
that's
you're
so much worse.
maybe you're spitting like, oh, maybe she's like, now that he's back, maybe I should focus on him now that our lives are together. But it seems kind of weird, bro. Like, she has a big crush on him, and then when he loses his power, she doesn't fucking talk to him for
That's
8 years.
crazy. That makes it so much worse.
Yeah, no, dude. Like,
I thought they were gonna do something cool with Deku. Like, they even had this scene which makes no sense because of the mech suit they ended the thing with. He has this scene where there's this little kid who's like, oh, my quirk really sucks. I'll never be that good. And Deku's like thinking back on the quirks he's familiar with because all that nerdy studying he used to do. And he's like, well, you could use your quirk like this and this. And he like basically gives a mini training lesson to this kid about how cool his quirk actually can be. And I thought they were going to do this thing where Deku becomes this like sage who basically has this high level training expertise despite being quirkless. Like, I thought they were going to do like a legacy chapter where they have that like same concept. This little kid who sucks at like using his quirk, he finds this like sage trainer who's like the best in the world and finds out, whoa, you don't have a quirk? And Deku's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just like a hero in the sense that I train heroes. I make everybody a hero. I thought they were going to do something like that because that's what the narrative sounded like. But
apparently Deku held her hand on a hill at the end. Is that true?
Yeah, but he does that a lot.
Dude, I hope that like by friends he just means everyone but her. Like, I really hope that she's not in that equation. But anyways, bro, I gotta get back to the stream. Glad you get your opinions out. You sound like evil Karthu. You have the same accent. You even have the same taste, like Dragon Ball and My Hero. It's just Karthu with a voice changer. I don't know, but
That's wild.
But anyway, man, it was nice talking to you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep,
All right,
peace.
Later.